So this video is gonna be about Kung Fu in general. We're gonna have a brief talk about some key fundamental principles of Kung Fu theoretically, because I feel like a lot of Kung Fu is misinterpreted, and because of that, its usage in fighting is very diminished. Okay, for instance, you see online right now, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Kung Fu versus Kung Fu, we're gonna do Shaolin versus, we're gonna do like, crane style versus, and really, you don't get to the level of the professionals, right? You don't get to the level of professional boxers, you don't get to the level of professional MMA fighters, you never get to that level, and that is because Kung Fu is about training the mind, okay? You have to keep that idea very vividly in your head that Kung Fu is for training the mind, okay? The other thing that you need in order to use Kung Fu is you need you need some type of system that you can use to fight with, right? For instance, this could be boxing, this could be Muay Thai, this could be MMA, this could be basketball, this could be badminton, this could be soccer. If you really know how to apply the theories of Kung Fu, you can use it in pretty much anything that's kind of, fighting related. You can use it in hockey, soccer, basketball, badminton, tennis, ping pong. You can use it in all of these. It's these theories, alright? So, Kung Fu, how it works is it either uses your mind to train your mind, which is kind of like, people used to do calligraphy for Kung Fu. They used to do Tai Chi for Kung Fu. Tai Chi is mostly mental, but it's also physical. It's also using the body to train your mind. They have chess. Chess is using your mind to train your mind. And they have all these things like Wing Chun and weapons. But really, even in the old days, believe it or not, they would have competitions. Competitions has always been part of fighting culture. It's not something that just developed. Even back then, they would have kings and queens and emperors and whatever hold competitions, right? And that's where your Kung Fu win, because if you don't have Kung Fu, what are you gonna fight with? You're gonna fight with the sword. You're gonna fight with arrows. You're not gonna fight with your hands. So what was the point of having hand forms? It's useless, right? Like, why would I go and learn Kung Fu and boxing when I can just shoot an arrow at a guy, he's dead? Why not just use an arrow? Or why don't I use a spear? Spears are used a lot. Or why don't I just use a spear and stab him? That's easier. Why don't I wear armor? If I wear armor, you can't do anything to me. They're punching me. You're gonna hurt your own hands. So you have to be smart about this. It's not that the Kung Fu is used specifically for what it seems to be used for. Even the forms, when you do snake style, whatever, it's just to give you this imagination. The key to Kung Fu is using your mind. Alright, so when you have things that are too similar, you have fighting styles that keep repeating, and you can't come up with something new, they would tell you to use poetry. Right? I'm gonna use the sounds of poetry. I'm gonna connect that. Because it doesn't have to be logical necessarily when you fight, right? You can throw in some random stuff. That's where the poetry comes in. You see that? You see that? Boom. Same thing with basketball. Boom. You can apply it too. Alright? So again, Kung Fu, right? It's just to train your mind. You have Wing Chun. It really, if you want the secret, is all of these arts are connected, right? There's no single art that is out there. Different styles, different art forms, art for this, for that. They're not. They're all connected with desire, with the end goal of, okay, can I do all of this and then make myself mentally stronger, right? For instance, let's talk about the animal hands. Okay, there's the tiger. Okay, the tiger teaches you to hit with your knuckles, right? Because the way that you slash, you're hitting with your knuckles. When you hit with the crane head, right? This is teaching you to hit with your first knuckles. That also hurts. The back knuckles and the front knuckles, that hurts, right? Teaching you to use your first two fingers teaches you to focus on the first two knuckles when you punch, right? Focus, right? That's to teach your mind. That's not teaching you to that's not teaching you to actually fight like that. You're not gonna fight like this. You're not gonna fight like this. You're not gonna fight like this slashing. That's to teach your mind, right? When I'm going, okay, I'm gonna learn Kung Fu and I'm gonna learn Wing Chun, for instance. Wing Chun is when you look at Wing Chun, um, when you look at Wing Chun in the Wing Chun dojo, right? They checkmate each other using random moves, and then they do this. That's not really to actually fight like that. You cannot fight like that. It's not possible. The moves, the Wing Chun moves, they're there to help you understand, your relationship with your opponent. Like, where is he? Where am I? Where are their weaknesses? Where are their drawbacks? And where are their um, where are their where are the weaknesses for him or weaknesses for me? That's what you learn with your torso. That's what you learn. Even push hands in Tai Chi, you learn, you feel, right? These are ways that you can take beyond just sparring, because sparring, it takes time and you want to get up there as fast as possible. That's why they have all these things. Right? And even in Wing Chun, you see this actually in real life. If you think about it in terms of boxing, it's just punching fast, Because when I punch you and you don't do anything, you cannot attack back, punch. That's just what it means here, but really it's different in real life. That's why so many Kung Fu don't work, because you're using it in terms of um you're using the Kung Fu in terms of like an actual thing. It's not an actual thing. It's this package. And once you learn the package, you can apply this package to anything Kung Fu related. Right? You can apply the package to badminton. You can apply the package to basketball, to soccer, to hockey. You can apply the package. That's what Kung Fu is supposed to do. It's supposed to use your body to understand these key fundamental principles that work and that extend to all arts. Right? You can use this in all arts, meaning you can, you know, painting is even big. Painting. You once you know how the tiger is, you can paint a tiger. Can you paint a tiger moving? Can you paint a crane moving? I can't. That's why I'm not. I have it in my imagination, but a lot of people don't. They cannot. Can you paint a crane moving? Can you paint a tiger moving? When you have that vision in your head, and you use animal style, and you want to copy the way of the animal. That's right. In Journey to the West, it's a Chinese novel, Chinese book that was written long time ago. They talk about this monkey called Sun Wukong. And they said he has like 52 or 54, whatever it is, transformations. What does this mean? It means he has 54 animals that he can transform into. Now, do you understand what this means? It means he has 54 different styles when he's fighting that he can switch between. I only have like 4 or 5. But if let's say you have 45 different styles, you can switch between it in the fight and your opponent's gonna misread you. Reading is such an important part of fighting. If I'm doing this and then all of a sudden I go boom, right, the change. That's huge. So again, train your mind with Kung Fu. Don't imagine that you're gonna be a fighter with Kung Fu. You're not. Kung Fu really is using your body to play chess. To learn how to play chess with your body. At the end of the day, you still have to learn the skills of a real fighting art. Like Shaolin. That's what they used it, right? They learned all this animal style and then they had Shaolin, which is just simple. Simple kicks, simple punches, everything that works. That's Shaolin. Shaolin is the fighting art of China. They have now they have what's that? Whatever that Chinese artist, I can't remember what the name is, but it's a there's this Chinese art of kung fu fighting basically, and it looks a lot like kickboxing. It looks a lot like Chinese kickboxing. But anyways, it's that's the art, right? That's the thing you fight with. And when you go to competition, that's what you fight with. Because if you don't have that background, you have just the mind stuff, you're gonna be in trouble. Maybe if someone really sucks, you can still beat them using your mind. But you want to have a strong body and you want to be able to fight using a real style. Okay, so that's it.